Or yet, I'm sorry. It's labeled a little different.
Yeah. I went ahead and started the recording since we started already time at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Does someone want to go first? Do you want me to go first since I said it?
You can. I
It
don't
doesn't matter.
Yeah, go ahead.
I thought it was really interesting. I related it a lot to like one of my clients I was working with today. Just like how he thinks and stuff. And I just think it was a cool insight because people with autism, because of like some of the social delays, I kind of think of it as they get to skip a lot of the programming that we get because every society is different and has a bunch of different social rules and it changes over time. And so all of that is kind of learned like automatically and reflexively by infants when they're observing their parents and stuff. And so what I've noticed, like just with some of my clients and just in general, I think it is kind of cool because they get to escape some of the social conditioning and kind of become their own person. And the way he talked, you could tell that like he was coming up with some of his kind of own conclusions instead of just like what society kind of teaches.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. But yeah.
Okay, so reading chapter 1 for me, I'm not trying to diagnose anyone, but I work with 0 to 3-year-olds, and it's a little boy in my class that sounds just like this.
Yeah, I mean that it was a big insight for me.
Yes, it is so
Well,
interesting.
It
Too.
like blew my mind how he was talking about how just because he didn't make eye contact, all these people were just automatically assuming he's a psychopath.
Yes,
Yeah.
And I'm
he's
just
a
like,
murderer.
me, I would automatically assume autism, but at that point in time, they didn't know that.
I didn't know anything. Yeah.
So it
Well,
just like it was very eye opening to me.
And they also thought he was just bad in school. He was just a bad kid, just
Because he didn't know how to
Chapter
interact with
4,
the other
though,
children.
Reading chapter 4 as an adult, I could see why they come to those conclusions.
yeah.
Me too.
Like
He was smart. He's
the
smart.
prank he pulled on his mom, I was like,
Oh,
parent? Oh
my gosh. That is the only thing that I thought, I would. Oh,
my gosh.
that right there. I couldn't
Ursula
believe
was
he
the
did
blow up doll, right?
that.
Okay, I thought that was hilarious.
That was
It
funny.
was. I'm
That
like,
was funny.
is this for real?
And then the rocks that he made the teacher pay for.
Yes.
And then the porn magazine.
The magazines.
Yes.
He
But
also,
why did
he
he
put
let
one
me
in
around
his
the
church. He put one in the
Yes.
church.
And in the school.
I just think
the
about my
waiting
little
area.
church. They would just die if we had something like
Oh.
that in the pews.
Yes.
Just
I could imagine him just watching people at church to see if somebody's going to pick it up.
I know. But really, he's a neat kid.
Yes.
I mean,
He is.
really is just so neat. And you think about it. My husband a cousin has a son, and we've never talked about it. But he can't look you in the eye, and he's 15 now. But he makes a conscious effort to look people in the eye because he knows he has such a hard time doing it. And so I can relate to a lot of this stuff in here. But I mean, he's homeschooled, so he's not even around other kids hardly. I mean, she does a great job. She has 3 kids, but they socialize through a network of other homeschooling kids. But he loves to fish. He lives in Florida at the beach. And so he knows everything. He'll even know what the water temperature is that day. So that's the thing too, that usually they have something they just love something. I had a kid that in high school, he knew the name of every airport in the United States. Every.
Oh wow.
And that's what he loved. He loved to study about airplanes and just was fascinated by it. And they're whatever they're interested in, they are so
Mm-hmm.
brilliant about it. So,
That's why I loved when he started talking about how like people just started taking him at his word. As soon as he would say a fact, they would just believe him, like with the bovine star.
Uh-huh.
his uncle. Yeah.
I mean, if I've been around a lot of kids who have interests like that. If they were to tell me something like that, I'd be like, yeah, sure.
Right?
Believe them also.
I know. Because I always think they know more about it than I do,
Uh-huh.
So,
And the fact that he was clever enough to like test people out by saying, okay, well, first give them information they do know, and then throw in something they don't.
right. And another thing I noticed he was talking about, if something was personal to him, he would have more interest in it. But talking about someone somewhere else getting killed or whatever, he just
Yeah.
thought he doesn't know them, and he just didn't react really that much. And you
But-
see people like that a lot, and you think,
I was
oh, they're so cold, but that's just part of the disability,
That happened to me the other night. I was thinking about that. We had a staff meeting at work, and like we were getting our butt chewed out, and I was like really ADD, so like I was thinking about something funny, and I started like chuckling a little bit. I didn't even mean to, like right as she was like, and you should not be doing this, and like it was really dark, and I felt bad because I was taking what they said seriously, but that's how my mind works. I just was like, oh, squirrel. And so my expressions weren't quite what they were supposed to be during this butt chewing and lecture and stuff. And so I was thinking about that too. And it's easy to do.
Yeah. You were coping.
Yeah.
Yes.
Tuning it out.
I do
Well,
the same
you
thing
know-
though.
I
Like
do that too.
I have severe ADHD, and things like the stuff you see on the news, it does affect me, but it only affects me if I start imagining if I was that person.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like then it starts really bothering me, but I kind of have the same reaction of it's not related to me. So
But I feel like it's so common that you hear bad stuff nowadays that people kind of just tune it out. Like,
Yeah.
it's
Right.
pretty common for
Right.
everybody.
It
Well-
I
really
like
is.
how he called it logical empathy though. Like
Yes.
Yeah.
coined that term and everything.
And it sounds like he's still like that, currently he is, that he's,
But he learned how to change his facial expressions.
yes,
Learn how to mask
Yeah.
he
those.
did. And he learned how to, like if somebody wanted to show him a truck or whatever, he knew how to make friends, how to respond.
I
Yeah,
thought
I
that was
did
pretty
either.
cool.
I did too. I thought that was a big
And
turn.
he said that he blamed adults because whenever he said stuff like that, he didn't know that it was wrong because they never brought it to his attention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see
Blamed
that.
himself.
Like, yeah, he pointed out, he was like, how do normal children figure this out?
Yeah.
Like, and
I thought it was interesting too, like listening to him think. I know when I was a kid, like I did some of like the ABA therapy and stuff, and they would always be like, that's inappropriate. That's inappropriate. Like they'd get mad at you for stuff that you did, but they would never like explain why you were doing it wrong. And it used to bug the shit out of me because like, I don't know, it just became like a pet peeve. I think I see it sometimes with some of the other therapists I work with. We forget that they don't understand this, like they don't have that like ingrained like social knowledge that most people just get through osmosis. And if you don't verbally explain it to them or try and meet them on some level, you're just like, you're being kind of emotionally abusive. You're just constantly putting them down for something they don't understand instead of teaching them. And so I thought that was just something that was interesting, to take away when we work with some kids in the field and stuff.
mhm.
And I think too that what I read in part of, the teachers told him he'd never amount to anything, that he'd be pumping gas or be in the army if they'd even take him,
Yeah.
So I've heard teachers like that say things about students, and I'm like, you know, and they may have autism or something, and they don't get it, you know,
Yeah.
they just don't get it.
And to me, I don't understand. If you're gonna be like that, why are you a teacher?
Exactly.
I have a student who she's mostly on grade level, but she is behind in a few subjects and stuff, but her social level is so low.
Yes.
So she's in 8th grade, but her social skills are like probably 3rd grade. And she'll tell me all the time she's going to be a nurse. She's going to do this. And I'm like, absolutely, you are. Like,
Yeah.
will she probably ever? Probably not. But, like, why would I tell her that? I'm going to be like, yes, you absolutely. If that's what you want to do, let's figure it out and we will work with you. And I don't understand teachers that tell kids that.
I don't either. I don't either.
No.
And
No, it's really rare. Most people don't know this, but 3% of people on the autism spectrum outgrow their disorder.